Welcome to the Wednesday stream. Hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday morning. Let me go ahead and get some of these things set up here. Hey, welcome to the Wednesday stream. Hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday morning. Let me go ahead and get some of these things set up here. Hey, sorry about that, folks. Welcome to the Wednesday stream. Hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday morning. Let me go ahead and get some of these things set up here. Hey, sorry about that, folks. Welcome to the Wednesday stream. Hope everyone's having an awesome... Jesus. Yeah. Sorry about that. Subversary Pog. Thank you so much, Not Richard Warlock, with a tier 1 subscription. We are at 3 months already. Wow. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a bit of an echo. My fault. Sorry about that, folks. But we got it solved. Folks, if you don't know, please check out Left Flank Vets. Phenomenal people. Phenomenal people. Phenomenal people. Check out Left Flank Vets. Alright, let me turn on some chill lo-fi music in the background. Okay. Is it on? Is it not on? Sweet. It's very low in the background. That works. Hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday morning. Thank you so much for the offline follow, Taco Cat. Thank you. I like that username. So we do have quite the amount of headlines to go through. We've got an Amazon headline. We've got senators calling for reoccurring stimulus checks. We have new updates on the Pfizer biotech vaccine. We turn our attention to Florida as well, and a new email from I mean, I wish it was funny, but it's not. A new email from the totally normal founder from Gab. We've got quite the stuff to go through, so let's get started. This was actually posted by Mono on Discord. Amazon's Twitter army was handpicked for great sense of humor. Wow. Amazon's small Twitter army of ambassadors, which, by the way, you'll see them. They have at names with some type of Amazon tag next to it. Was quietly conceived in 2018 under the codename Veritas, which is kind of weird, which sought to train and dispatch select employees to the social media trenches to defend Amazon and its CEO. Jeff Bezos, according to an internal description of the program obtained exclusively by The Intercept. But, we knew about this, though. This isn't new, by the way. This whole Amazon ambassador stuff, this isn't new. By no stretch of the imagination. And they're not necessarily fake accounts. These are real people that are handpicked and selected to quote-unquote defend Amazon or to respond to criticisms of Amazon. That's their job. I believe they get paid for it. I've heard about this before, so I believe they get paid for it. I'm sure I'm sure the article will tell us. Hey, ER Explorers, how's it going? Amazon ambassadors drew attention this week as they responded to a wave of online criticism for the company's treatment of workers amid a union drive at Amazon warehouse in Bessemer, Alabama, which hopefully, by the way, yesterday was it yesterday? No, the day before, the 29th, was the vote for unionization. I really hope that they were successful, and we will see the results, I'm sure. Reddit was built from the start on fake accounts. Amazon's fake accounts reviews must have been started well before 2018. It's possible. Hey, spread it forward. How's it going? It looks like a bot. Yeah, it really does. Like they have, well, it's because they have pre-written responses. They have pre-written responses that they're supposed to type. I mean, you can edit them a little bit, but these Amazon ambassadors have already pre-typed responses. So yeah, it does look like a bot. Alio with the 12 biddies, bright and early. How's it going? Yeah, so like here's an example. Hey Amazon, I just want to say that I'm okay with getting the garbage I order from you a lot later if it means your employees are able to take adequate breaks and work with dignity. Just saying. And of course, the Amazon ambassadors reply, my FC lets me take 2 20-minute breaks and 1 30-minute lunch. On overtime days, we get 3 20-minute breaks, which is also pretty nice as well. Oh, hey, listen, that's standard procedure. So I hope everybody knows that. That's the law. Oh wait, no, my mistake. My mistake. The law is you have to have 2 15-minute breaks in an 8-hour period and 1 30-minute lunch minimum if you work 8 hours a day, or 40 hours a week, I should say. But this response, we get 3 20-minute breaks, which is also pretty nice as well. Before the pandemic, our breaks used to be only 15 minutes. The overall 10-minute increase is nice. Being an essential worker is dignifying for me. Nice. They give you an extra 10 minutes. How dignifying. Yeah, no. With some leeway, yeah. Yeah, they have pre-typed responses with some leeway. Within the free market, large and powerful forces are able to manipulate our world to their benefit in strange, ominous, controlling ways. To a degree, I don't know why this is even like allowed, but I guess, you know, our laws haven't caught up with technology necessarily. And here we have another ambassador. Although the facility is big, there are numerous bathrooms to use. My building has 12. Each bathroom can have 3 to 6 stalls. That's plenty. Plus, with the 20 to 30-minute breaks, that's more than enough time. Except, it doesn't really happen, does it? Not according to a whole bunch of testimonies from actual Amazon employees. Amazon pays 50 minimum wage, and they go beyond the federal standard, which is like $7.25. Oh, bless the gods! Thank you, Amazon, for paying barely, somewhat a wage compared to the value they produce and compared to the amount of money they have. The fact that they call them essential workers, but also pay them a wage less than that equals to minimum wage adjusted for modern times. True. Jesus. Anticipating criticisms of worker conditions at their fulfillment centers in particular, Amazon designed Veritas to train fulfillment center workers chosen for their great sense of humor to confront critics, including policymakers on Twitter, in a blunt manner. The document, produced as part of a pilot program in 2018, marked Amazon.com Confidential, also includes examples of how its ambassadors can snarkily respond to criticisms of the company and its CEO. Nice. Nice meme. Several examples involve Senator Bernie Sanders, a longtime critic of the trillion-dollar firm, who has been targeted by it in recent days. It also provides examples on how to defend Bezos. Nice. Are you serious? Amazon pays above market value. Wait, what does that mean? Oh, good lord. Is this someone who pretends that they know how, like, economics works? Where I work, we have a client who runs a company that has provided a certain service that I'm surprised Amazon couldn't figure out for itself. But she and her employees are totally freaked out by the Amazon warehouses. When Amazon called them in for maintenance or installation, they were refused from talking to anybody. Jesus. Yeah, and Amazon's also been known to tell its employees to not report any type of on-the-job injuries. To address speculation and false assertions in social media and online forums about the quality of the fulfillment center associate experience, we are creating a new social team staffed with active, tenured FC employees who will be empowered to respond in a polite but blunt way to every untruth. The project description reads, FC ambassadors will respond to all posts and comments from customers, influencers, including policymakers and media questioning the FC associate experience. That's so bizarre. That's so bizarre and dystopic. Think about that. Think about that. Jeff Bezos will personally initiate smear campaigns against his employees. Yeah, he did. FC Ambassadors, isn't that a soccer team? The FC, yeah, I think you're right. The market value is how much your labor is worth in the free market, in the quote-unquote free market, which is a farce, by the way. The free market is a farce, and Amazon is overpaying its workers just because they know they're financially stable. They're not overpaying their workers. They're underpaying them, considering the value that the company is worth and produces. Literally just try to say our labor is worth only $15 an hour. True. All life is valid, not just human. True. Never been a free market, plenty of invisible hands though. Well, no, they're pretty visible if you ask me. Did you guys hear that? The little tiny meow? No? My cat just meowed at me. I think she wants out. Let me see. I ate a pig this morning, but it's okay because you... Oh. No, Richard Warlock. No. Edie, what are you doing? Hold on, folks. Oh, no. There's a Simba that purrs so constantly, I think he's just nervous. Yeah. The company value is not the value of your labor. Just because you greet people at the door does not mean you are entitled to anything. If someone can easily perform your job for cheaper, it's not that valuable. What? Hey, left my liberal wife. Do you believe, really quickly before we move on, do you believe that even the Walmart greeter, the cashier, the person who works at McDonald's, do you think that their job needs to be done? It's a mistake to think a cat is a pet that the pet owner cats is the owner's cats can up and leave if the human isn't attentive enough. True. No, not really. Cats are very independent. She was meowing at me because she wanted to leave the room. You just compared a Walmart greeter to an Amazon worker? Yeah, this guy clearly doesn't know what he's talking about, but it's a really simple yes or no question. Do you believe that regardless, the Amazon warehouse worker, the McDonald's cashier, the Walmart greeter, do you believe that these jobs still have to be done? Very simple yes or no question. Stores with testers during the pandemic had more mask compliance. Stores with greeters. Yeah, of course, but I think that the low-skilled jobs can and are done by children or college. Oh, so you believe in... Wow. Jesus. So you believe that children should work. Children should be forced to work. Second of all, if you concede the fact that these jobs have to be done, shouldn't those jobs pay the minimum, a living wage, so that every worker, despite their job, should be paid a living wage? Yes or no? So we're conceding the fact that these jobs need to be done. Shouldn't he be paid at least a living wage to cover living? Automation is great to begin. My issue with high minimum wage, you just push companies, automated and fire workers. That's not true. It's been happening all the time. That's not true. Automation is happening regardless. I'm a little put off by some of the Amazon unionization hot takes, especially from the serfs who seem to think that a union is all about strike actions and... What? I'm punishing... In punishing management system, which a guy who works for RMT strike action is the last thing on your mind, which is mostly about negotiations and dealings with individual cases to set up a precedent that can be extended to all workers. I'm not sure what that means. People should be thankful to get these low-skilled jobs when you have no skill. Oh, so you can't even answer the question. Hey, focus. Last time. If you acknowledge that these jobs still need to be done, do they deserve a living wage? Yes or no? You acknowledge that these jobs have to exist. For now, that these jobs exist. Should they be paid a living wage? Yes or no? Simple question. It's just, I mean, clearly we have somebody who is absolutely completely ignorant as to how this works. Will be empowered. I mean, my patience for ignorance is very low today. If general strikes here and there make you feel uncomfortable, you must start to put yourself in the worker's shoes. True. I didn't read that last one. Hey, Pasta La Pizza. They said that it depends on where you live. Like, it was a simple yes or no question. Do they, if you acknowledge that these jobs need to exist, if these jobs are currently need to be done, do they deserve a living wage? Yes or no? It was a very simple question. Each state is different, unique when it comes to taxes and living standards, so let the state determine a wage. It could be also easier to raise a wage on the state level. Yes, politics, but so what we do need to do is get that question going. We do need to raise the wages. And I think that, well, yes, a living wage should be based on where you live, obviously, the cost of living. A kind of federal baseline does need to be established as well. Hey, Memmius, how's it going? Some people shouldn't get enough to live based on where they live. That says a lot. Yeah, it's a very simple yes or no question. I don't understand how that's hard to answer. Texas has a high cost of living in certain parts, low in others. Not fair for the people in the rich parts making an 8-hour. Yeah. If it wasn't for the federal minimum wage, we wouldn't have a minimum wage here. True. Still looking for the states with 11-hour minimum wage. There are some. I agree, but the states should raise it, not the feds. The feds tie the wages to other subjects that will kill the bill. It's a classic tactic to keep the status quo. No, I still think that, like, definitely wages need to be up in terms of, like, the federal level. So what I would say is the reason why you would have some type of floor at the federal level is so that poverty doesn't go below a certain line, right? So if you say, okay, at the federal level, at the baseline, everybody needs to be X amount, which X has been determined more or less to be about $15 an hour, right? Based on the insert calculation here, because there is a calculation as to why they reached that number. Okay, there is actually a calculation as to why they reached that number. It is and ended up being about $15 an hour. So you set that federal level, and the states then can use that to raise their wages accordingly. I think bootstrap stock is extremely funny as it is the ignorance. Yeah. Yeah, the bootstraps meme is long and dead. Long gone and dead. Rondo, how's it going? Yeah, the bootstraps meme is all long dead and gone. How's it going, Dark Knight? Anyway, to address speculation and false assertions in social media and online forums about the quality of the fulfillment center's associate experience, we're creating a new social team staffed with active tenured FC employees who will be empowered to respond in a polite but blunt way to every untruth, even though there's significant evidence to indicate how horrible some of these warehouses are. The project description reads, FC ambassadors will respond to all posts and comments from customers, influencers, including policymakers and media questioning the FC experience. The FC associate experience. Well, what if it's actually the employees themselves who are outing your terrible working conditions? What if it's not the media? Besides, all companies have a payroll and taxes they must pay those. True. Enough to support a family at 25% allowance, 15 an hour is like from 2005 and requires both parents of the family of 4, even though there are more family makeups than that, to work overtime. So even 15 is way lower than the minimum wages intended. Yeah, like 15 is right now the, exactly as Renata said, is like the floor, like the baseline. Is the universal baseline where nobody can go under this. Right? So that's where I think that, because like federal minimum wage, I think that because of our high cost of living that hasn't kept up with wages, we do need some type of like movement. We do need some type of movement around the country to raise wages based on the cost of living of where you live. However, we do need some type of baseline. It's not even baseline at this point, is what I'm saying. It's easier to organize and pass bills at the state level. People need to refocus their efforts from DC to their states, especially before elections. Politicians at the end of the day want to keep their jobs. Well, there is truth to that in the sense that you do need to pay attention to your own state, local politics, because they have ballot initiatives and stuff like that. Really, the prison industrial complex is the postmodern workhouse, as Gritch has pointed out. Many prisons are guilty of crime they can't just afford a defense and charge ridiculous that just to eat food in prisons. There is truth to that. The fact that there is even private prisons is beyond me. 15 involves none of those incredible cost changes from products and inflation over the past 15 years. Yeah. Private prisons are starting to be reconsidered in Nevada? Huh. Well, if you live in Nevada, pay attention to that. I would immediately ruin so much where I live, 15 an hour, especially after how much we've been through this year and counting, that maybe we just ignore it, and even more absurd degree that it's even impossible to meet from the ruling class. We'd probably just pour our heads down and try to become a good subject of the... What? What does that mean? Are you okay, your explorers? What? What? What does that even mean? Second of all, if a $15 minimum wage would pass, you do realize that it doesn't just Thanos snap and everybody gets $15 an hour. The proposal is over 5 years. Second of all, what does a $15 minimum wage have to do with the CCP? Are you okay? Workers fighting for a living wage while companies fight for slave labor. The battle continues. True. Slave wages. How do you geographically prorate living wage? What? The cost of living? What? What is the cost of living? You do realize economists know this, right? The cost of living in Florida is about 2,500 a month. That should be the minimum. Does that make sense? The idea is to start a federal baseline and then get to that level. Hey, Lasso, how's it going? Eat 420, how's it going? Good, how about you? I'm hanging in there. Economists know that the current average minimum wage in the US is not even enough to cover the lowest rent in America. True. I don't know what it's supposed to mean, but businesses is supposed to be humane. Yeah, like I don't understand, guys. Where's the disconnect from reality here? Can somebody seriously explain this to me? I work full time. I should be paid a living wage to cover my costs of living. Where's the disconnect? Yeah, and well, spread it forward. The idea that businesses are just gonna collapse in a mass wave of collapsed businesses is untrue. We had a congressional budget whatever CBO report. It says over the 5 years it would cost to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. We'd lose about 1.4 million jobs at most. Over 5 years. We lost that in 1 month, okay? We lost that in 1 month. So the idea that like there's going to be some scary huge repercussions for raising the minimum wage is just not true. Yeah, that we would all go bankrupt. That's also not true. And DC is more than twice as rich than so many places it rules over, even accounting. Like, what are you talking about? How's it confusing that enforcing these things across thousands of miles in DC dollars could be 1,000? And it broke Greece. I believe you were talking about a completely different scenario that has absolutely nothing to do with each other. Didn't you know? True, Darknet. The disconnect is not all businesses can pay $15 an hour without firing workers and atomization. So if you cannot pay your workers a living wage, you should not be in business. I don't know where's the disconnect here? If you cannot pay your workers a living wage, you should not be in business. That is the risk you took. And if you can't manage it, that sounds like your business shouldn't exist. Furthermore, I know plenty of small businesses that absolutely can afford it and do afford it. You know why? Because they care about their employees. The small businesses that I've seen that afford the 15 or more dollars an hour, that are literally mom and pop shops that I've seen, they literally care about their employees and want and try to give them as much as they could. So if small businesses can afford it, it absolutely can also be a thing between local, state, and national businesses. Local businesses are mostly family. Also less people. Okay, so anyways, that doesn't matter to me. You cannot pay a living wage. You should not be in business. Isn't it funny how they never complain about businesses being able to afford to provide insurance? True. And yeah, exactly, Chai Bureaucrat. By the way, how's it going? Or here's a thought: instead of giving all those freebies, all those tax freebies to the large corporations, maybe we should give them to small businesses. Maybe we should give them. Maybe we should give all those freebies that these large corporations like Amazon, Walmart, all those tax freebies. Maybe we should give them to the small businesses. So don't tell me it's not possible. It just seems like people have this thing where they see somebody that works at Amazon or Walmart or McDonald's, and they just think that they don't deserve a living wage. There's always opinion over pay raises, like on-site benefits, like free food, canteens, on-site showers, gym free. What? There's no opinion on that. I'm not sure. I think you're fabricating a debate in your head, but the debate is very simple. Do you believe that people should be paid a living wage? Yes or no? Tax credits for the super small ones. Does that make you live happy? Just like every business has wages, invariably makes more money than you're paid. This isn't rocket scientist. True. This isn't rocket science. I mean, that's the core argument. Do you believe that people should be paid a living wage? Yes or no? That's it. This is the divide. I'm fine with states raising the minimum wage because they are more in touch with small businesses. While you tend to advocate for one size fits all national wage, the feds are less connected to the local level. It doesn't matter. They still need to be a floor. There still needs to be a floor at the end of the day. Yeah, furthermore, exactly, Darknet is correct. There's no state where $7.25 is an actual living wage. You're asking a simple answer about a complicated problem. It's not really that complicated. Do you believe that people should have a living wage? Yes or no? Jesus Christ. Am I talking like is it difficult to understand? The disconnect is that big corporations want massive profit, brainwash people to think that the only thing that will work is keeping a poor wage so they can keep massive more of profit. True. uh, apparently it is too hard. Wow, amazing. Such a complicated issue. Such a complicated issue. It seems like a difficult truth to swallow for these folks. True. Mars emotes, how's it going? Good morning to you. Alright, folks, focus. Kelly Nantel is an Amazon spokesperson, said via email, FC ambassadors are employees who work in our fulfillment centers and choose to share their personal experience. The FC Ambassador program helps show that what it's actually like inside our fulfillment centers. It's all rainbow and sunshine, folks. All rainbow and sunshine, along with public tours we provide that we control. In 2018, Amazon admitted that the ambassadors were employees paid to honestly share the facts. Aha! This is exactly what I was talking about. They are paid. I knew it. They are paid to honestly share the facts. Hard quotations on that one. About what working in its fulfillment centers is like. Many Twitter users had at first believed that the ambassadors were automated bot accounts due to the nearly identical format of their account bios, which all feature the Amazon Smile logo and begin with the handle @AmazonFC. But that format was specifically mandated by Amazon, the Intercept documents show. We could also add an emoji to the username to give personality, for example, a small box emoji, the document suggests. Yeah, like I said, this is exactly what it was. They're real people. It's just that they have they get paid to have pre-written responses to defend Amazon or whatnot. We agree on the answer but disagree on the plan to solve it. Well, the problem is like you haven't really proposed a plan. Second of all, yes, it may be true that locations are vastly different, but that does not mean that you cannot establish a floor. And if you actually took time to figure out how we got to the $15 minimum wage, you'd notice that it actually makes there is an actual calculation as to why the 15 makes sense across the board. They didn't just come up with this number magically. So although it's true, things differentiate between locations, there is still a floor necessary. All right. The alternative? Yeah, that's not a very... You're assuming that the states want to. Can you imagine getting all the red states to try to... Can you imagine getting all the red states to try to raise the minimum wage? Nice meme, dude. My plan is to not do anything. Cool. Anyways, the alternative solution is have a mass unionization of workers. And the feds has a higher chance of being thrown into political chess. So again, you're just circling. You're just circulating into really nonsense. You're just keeping the same exact compulsive contrarianism, where I think your plan sucks, so I'm going to propose my plan, which is do nothing. Cool. Anyways, Senator Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and Representative Mark Pocan tweeted last week about the company's treatment of workers and its corporate practices. Amazon's PR account then sent taunting replies to the lawmakers asking, Pocan, you don't really believe the peeing in bottles thing, do you? That's been well documented, my friend. That's been well documented. As The Intercept reported the following day, many Amazon delivery drivers have indeed been forced to relieve themselves in bottles and bags in order to meet demanding quotas, which are ever rising, and the company knew it. Amazon also replied to Warren and Sanders, telling Sanders, I often say that we are the Bernie Sanders of employers. Nice meme, but that's not quite right because we actually deliver a progressive workplace. Citation heavily needed. The tweets have vexed many in the company, some of whom feared the account may have been hacked. Oh, is that the cop-out? Is that the cop-out? Alright, buddy. You can come back when you have like take a moment and go back and think about the words that you decided to type out. Like, think about that. Think about the words that you just decided to type out and unironically think that that's a good argument. So again, refusing to acknowledge the problem at all. I mean, it just makes me feel like you just don't want to raise wages. You just don't care. You just feel like these jobs need to be done. You just don't want to pay people a living wage. Plain and simple. Hey, Wing. I just discovered reusable food bags. Nice. Have you tried refillable bottle? I'd be in bottles under those incentives. What incentives? What incentives? It's not like you're making a lot of money, You're not even making money to, you're not even making enough money to put food on the table. Reusable food bags also work as pots and grow bags for plants. True. Very true. Very true. I think the state should decide whether I have to be in a bottle or not. We'll talk about that. He resigned, sort of, like he's not running, so he knows. Oof. Oof. True, spread it forward. Sanders, who has confronted the company over its labor practices and recently visited workers in Alabama, is referenced repeatedly in the 2018 document. In one instance, the document refers to a video interview Sanders tweeted, Bernie Sanders interviewing Seth King on Prime Day. Seth describes the feelings so depressed working at Amazon to take... Oh my goodness. Describes feeling so depressed working at Amazon to take his own life. Hey, yeah, awesome. Very good working conditions. Randy Dragon, thank you for the follow. He was the lone vote against the child trafficking bill. I make about $11.44 an hour. My city is relatively cheap. You can live comfortably with a family for about 40 to 50K. However, I still can't move out of my mom's apartment. I can't imagine people survive making less without parent support. It's because they can't. At this point, he should be worried about going to jail. True. What's the QAnon channels make of this? I have no idea. Probably dead silent if they know what's good for them. Okay. A must-watch as Toto with his apartment at the moment. Send it to me via DM. Actually, you know what? Why haven't I done this? Hold on. Isn't all this kind of hypocrisy when you consider these working hours and practices are universal over Asia, with sweatshops making American goods shipped through Amazon at low prices? Yeah, that's bad too. What? Yeah, it turns out sweatshops are bad too. Absolutely a chill streamer that has great going advice. Definitely give him a follow. Wait, who? Yeah, of course, Lawsuit. That way you can also post links. Clydeson? Well, let me give him a shout out then. Sweet. Ten out of 10 smart farmer. Cool. It will inspire you to start growing.
Over the last 2 or 3 weeks, if you've paid attention to financial writing, you've seen the city of Seattle come back in a different way, not about voting for an income tax, a different issue. The minimum wage. It turns out a group of economists associated with the University of Washington in Seattle did a study, and it showed, and this was very exciting for the journalists, it showed that if you raise the minimum wage, there will be some workers who will be fired by their employer rather than pay that worker a higher wage. This was thought to be a thunderbolt. 2 weeks earlier, a group of economists at the University of California in Berkeley did a similar study, also focused on Seattle, in which they showed that raising the minimum wage has no discernible effect on employment. And so it went back and forth. There were editorials in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, there were op-eds. Oh, which is it? Is it that we can, like the Democrats want, raise the minimum wage, help those poor people, give them a better wage? Or are the conservatives right by saying, shame on you, stinky liberals. You want to raise the wage. You don't realize it's going to lose work, lose jobs for the people whose wages you raise when they get fired by their employer. Now, it takes a level of credulity that I don't possess to take seriously conservatives who are worried about unemployment of poor people. It's not a position you find them championing terribly often, like never. So what is this about? They don't want the minimum wage to be raised because restaurants and other businesses want to be able to pay dirt low wages. You don't need a PhD for this. But what struck me and what I want to bring home is that professional economists, people like me, are spending huge amounts of time debating whether we could or should raise the minimum wage, whether or not there'll be some people fired. What? If you give a happy damn about these people, you'll raise their wage and give them a job. What do you if private people lay you off because they're not going to give you $8 an hour instead of $7.25, then if you give a damn, the government comes in and hires them, which is what we did in the 1930s for millions of people. The economists ought to be working out how do you give people a decent wage and give them a job, because that's what our profession ought to be doing. But no, we are debating whether we should raise the minimum wage, lose a few jobs, or keep those jobs but give them nothing for it. You know what this is like? This is like walking down a dark alley where you know you shouldn't be, and suddenly what you feared accosts you, a nasty-looking fellow who says to you, I'm going to give you a choice. I'm going to get your wallet. I'm either going to get it by stabbing you, or I'm going to get it by shooting you. But it's your choice. Now imagine a person who starts to walk down the alley trying to weigh these two. Right? That kind of person needs a lot of help. Because the rational response is, I'm not accepting this choice, Jack. I am going to surprise you because I've got a gun. Here it is. Or whatever you can do. But you're not going to weigh these two because they are equally awful. You're going to try to use your brain to figure out how do I get out of this situation, not how do I choose between these outrageous impositions.
True. Thank you, Lastu. An ambassador role-playing then responds at Senator Sanders, this job has never made me feel bad personally. If you have a job that makes you feel bad, you could just leave. Hey, that's a nice meme. That's a nice meme. You could just leave. You could just leave. Marco Monti, thank you for the follow. Yellow? What does that mean? But how can you leave that terrible job? Is paying your bills. Not only that, like the options are, yeah, you'll go to you'll leave Amazon only to work for Walmart. How Amazon in Germany, how Germany deals with Amazon. German union calls for 4-day strike at Amazon sites ahead of Easter. Nice. The trade union Verdi has called for workers at 6 Amazon sites in Germany to go on strike from Sunday evening for 4 days in the latest attempt to try to force the US e-commerce group to recognize collective bargaining agreements. That's how you do it. At another point, Sanders is described having tweeted about Jeff Bezos' wealth. The ambassador then replies, "Everyone should be able to enjoy the money they've earned and saved. It's theirs." Nice. Nice meme. Nice meme. Among the program's tenets is the promise not to offer misleading or false messages, instead exhorting ambassadors to tell your truth. Tell your truth. That's not the same as telling the objective truth. Telling your truth is not the same as telling the objective truth. Richard Marx has many vids on this subject and gets into all arguments corporate bootlickers have and try to use. True. Among the program's tenets is a promise not to offer misleading or false messages instead of exhorting ambassadors to tell your truth, but there are subjects that are forbidden to discuss. Wait. So, you can tell your truth, except X, Y, and Z. What? The document instructs employees not to respond to contacts about the right to unionize, only one of 3 cases in which they're told not to respond. That's funny. At Amazon, let your FC employees unionize if you have nothing to hide. True. Ambassadors were also told not to respond to media inquiries and to complicated queries where PR approval is needed. One example of a tweet to ignore mentions Amazon's advertising relationship with the far-right outlet Breitbart. At Amazon, while you're still advertising on Breitbart, between that and barely paying your employees, I'm ready to quit shopping with you. The document also makes clear that the ambassadors are far from representative sample of workers, noting that the newer employees can be very passionate and effective, according to the review of a small pilot group. Newer employees who haven't yet had to pee in a bottle, perhaps. True. I live in New Zealand. George Floyd is still on the news here, even here. Well, of course. But you do realize that the trial has just started, right? What are you talking about? Obviously, the globalist oligarchs want to inflame this issue. What does that mean? What does that mean? The globalist oligarchs want to inflame this issue. And who are the globalist oligarchs? What does that mean? Care to... And I want you to be specific. What does that mean? The globalist oligarchs. I'm waiting. It's okay. It's just some... It's a dog whistle. Bezos and Musk are guilty of labor law offenses but remain indicted. The DOJ and FBI must go after them and quit dragging them to Congress, who does nothing. True. All right, folks. This is interesting. "21 is smaller than 60. Pasta shall rule the earth." I like pasta. Any relation to the flying spaghetti monster? True. The oligarchs are real. No conspiracy is necessary when the oligarchs have global interests and act on them. Okay, so very weird. It can be a dog whistle. Can be. You would think that 20 senators agree with UBI? Well, not necessarily, but they do agree with recurring payments. I guess it's a form of UBI. "21 Senate Democrats urge Biden to put recurring stimulus checks, unemployment aid extension, and recovery plan." More Senate Democrats are pressuring Biden to extend rescue measures as the U.S. recovers from a coronavirus-fueled economic drubbing. 21 members of the Senate Democratic Caucus wrote to the president on Tuesday urging him to include recurring direct payments and enhance jobless benefits as part of his recovery plan. Why would he do that? It might actually help people. True. The senators, led by Finance Committee Chair Ron Wyden of Oregon, aim to tie the aid to economic conditions so relief does not lapse too early. This crisis is far from over, and the families deserve certainty that they can put food on the table and keep a roof over their heads. Families should not be at the mercy of constantly shifting legislative timelines and ad hoc solutions. True. Wyden has long called for Congress to phase out assistance as the economy improves so Americans do not lose benefits at arbitrary dates chosen by lawmakers. Democrats included a 300 per hour per week unemployment supplement through September 6 and 1,400 direct payments as part of their coronavirus relief package earlier this month. I prefer other methods to ending inequality than UBI, jobs programs, worker-owned co-ops, but ground-level stuff that's sustainable, but I won't argue against this. True. I'm not going to knock this either. I think that this could temporarily be a good thing as we get over the economic crisis. I think that this could be a temporary solution. But yeah, I also would not go against establishing more sustainable solutions like pilot programs to do worker co-ops, like finance worker co-ops, and see how that works. The rich and big corp lives on UBI, so why can't the rest of us? True. Yeah, Band-Aids. Oh my goodness. Band-Aids. That's true. Nonetheless, if you live in the United States, you should call your representatives and demand that this be a thing, as well as SB 1 for the election bill. Wyden wants to avoid repeating what took place last summer when jobless benefit boost expired and contributed to millions of Americans falling into poverty. While the job market continues to climb back towards pre-pandemic levels, many lawmakers worry that the existing aid measures will not go far enough, while roughly 19 million people are recovering from some sort of unemployment benefits. The senators who signed the letter include Wyden, number 2 Senate Democrat Dick Durbin, Budget Committee Chair Bernie Sanders, a Vermont independent who caucuses with Democrats, Banking Committee Chair Sherrod Brown, and Senator Elizabeth Warren. Raise capital gains tax over $1 million is my permanent solution on a wealth tax. I mean, I'm not going to be opposed to raising taxes on the wealthy. Do you mean a salary? No. Like actually, they just get freebies. Freebies that the rest of us don't enjoy. Biden plans to unveil his infrastructure and economic recovery package in Pittsburgh on Wednesday. The administration and congressional Democrats are deciding whether to split $3 trillion or more into spending into two pieces of legislation. Politicians' wages should be directly tied to minimum wage. Ooh, that would be now that's a thought. $3 trillion or more in spending into two pieces of legislation. Democrats will have two areas to focus: one pool of proposals related to transportation, broadband, and climate change. I'm still triggered about John Kerry's words, so this means absolutely nothing to me. This whole idea that they're still stringing us along, trying to pretend that they're going to do something about climate change, is infuriating. Home care is here? Alright. This is absolutely infuriating. I don't trust it. and another tied to education, paid leave, and healthcare. That I do agree with. Having universal pre-K, universal education, and tuition-free public universities, and raising benefits for child care, paid leave is important. This is just standard in every single developed country in the world. This is just standard procedure. We're just now thinking about, not even proposed, not even passed. We're just thinking about catching up to everybody else. As policymakers consider how to raise taxes to fund the initiatives and mull whether any part of the plan can win Republican votes, it is unclear if senators can fit more economic aid into the package. A White House spokeswoman did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the letter. Congressional Democrats are expected to pass at least part of the recovery plan through budget reconciliation, which would not require Republican votes in the Senate split. In the Senate split 50-50 by party. The White House hopes to win GOP support for infrastructure policy, while Republicans support measures to improve transportation and broadband. They have opposed tax increases. You can't have it both ways, my friends. Thanks for bringing HR 1. I've been busting tail with thousands of others. Progressive grannies knocking on doors, getting people IDs. Nice. Nice. Very nice. Very, very, very nice. Why don't we just do public broadband infrastructure like Gross and Balls? True. The rich and big corporations get government handouts and welfare and big money. True. My home care comes at 2 and I love it. Nice. We need the clap emote, sir. We need to clap for Granny Dragon hitting the pavement. True. Hey, folks, here we go. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Broadband Nation. Yeah, we need a clap emote, true. I need to do a lot of stuff when it comes to revamping our emotes in BTTV. So TLDR, I think that if this conversation goes somewhere, a temporary reoccurring stimulus check is a good thing. Just objectively, it is a good thing. It will have massive benefits and will stabilize the economy. I don't think that this should be the end game, but I do think that this is a great temporary stopgap. I think that this would be a temporary stopgap. That's right, Frankerface. I should probably get both. I don't have both. Broadband isn't Biden's infrastructure bill. True. True. So I hope that this conversation goes somewhere, because it is necessary, I think, as a temporary stopgap as we find more permanent solutions in terms of like economics, right? On the topic of raising the minimum wage, it turns out that it is quite possible to raise wages. New Zealand raises minimum wage and increases taxes on the rich. Look at that. New Zealand is raising its minimum wage to 20 an hour and increasing the top tax rate for the country's highest earners to 39%. Nice. The changes will be rolled out on Thursday alongside small increases to unemployment and sickness benefits. The government estimates the minimum wage increase, a rise of $1.14 per hour, will affect up to 175,500 workers and an increased wage across the economy of 216 million. The top tax rate will apply to anyone earning more than $180,000 a year, about 2% of New Zealanders. The government estimates it will bring an additional $550 million in revenue this year. OECD data shows that New Zealand's previous minimum wage as of 2019 was already among the top 5 highest in the world. How embarrassing. How embarrassing. Over the course of the COVID pandemic, many of the country's essential workers have been minimum wage earners, including those who work at the airport and border jobs, and are considered the frontline defense against the virus. In 2020, unions called for an increase to the living wage, $22.10 for those on the front lines. It's a big deal to these workers. Part of it's the money, part of it's the dignity of feeling rewarded by the community for the sacrifices they're making. United Union National Secretary John Crocker told TVNZ at the time. Speaking about the changes this week, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said they fulfilled the pre-election promise and represent real and long overdue improvements to the support we provide to our most vulnerable. There's still much work to do, including building more homes, improving our health system, investing in education, training, and job opportunities. Wow. Child bureaucrat. Look at that. Hey, folks, imagine reorganizing our priorities to actually provide these things for the people. New Zealand continues to struggle with high child poverty rates and housing costs. Housing in Auckland, for example, is among the most unaffordable in the world, with housing prices sitting at 11 times average income. The housing shortage has hit vulnerable New Zealanders pretty hard, particularly hard. On Tuesday, Stuff reported that waiting lists for public housing had hit a new record, with more than 22,800 households waiting for a home. The opposition National Party opposed the minimum wage increase. Sharply increasing the minimum wage during a period of extreme uncertainty for small businesses is economic vandalism, said its workplace relations spokesperson Scott Simpson. The Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment had advised the government to delay an increase due to economic uncertainty caused by COVID-19. The Ardern-led government has raised the minimum wage gradually over the past 4 years, adding up to an increase of $4.25 an hour since 2017. Last year, Ardern made headlines for encouraging New Zealand employers to consider adopting a 4-day workweek and other flexible arrangements as a way to rebuild from COVID-19. I heard lots of people suggesting that we should have a 4-day work week. It's not a lot of people. It's studies that have shown that it's actually more productive to have a 4-day work week rather than 5. He said at the time. Ultimately, that really sits between employers and employees, but as I've said, there's just so much we've learned about COVID and the flexibility of people working from home that the productivity can be driven out of that. Yeah. See also chicken bureaucrat and chickpea bureaucrat. There should be deflation if we're learning how to do things more efficiently. Yes, but I don't know if that comes into play. necessarily. I mean, I'm sure inflation will have some effect, but I'm not sure. I'm sold on the idea that if we raise minimum wage, then we'll have like a huge negative effect when it comes in regards to inflation. I think that the overall positives are just too much. The overall positives of raising the minimum wage are a lot. There won't be a huge spike in inflation. That's exactly what I meant. Like there won't be like a huge negative impact to the point where you're like, well, we can't do this right now, you know? So it turns out that a country such as New Zealand, with all their problems, because they do have problems, okay? They do have problems and they're attempting to work towards fixing them. But even a country such as New Zealand has the ability to raise minimum wages and to increase taxes on the rich. And they have further plans to attempt to address homelessness. The good will outweigh the bad. Yep. That happens every year regardless. Well, does it? I'm not quite sure. Maybe I'm wrong. So yeah, it turns out that if you reorganize your priorities, you actually can do good things. If you reorganize your priorities, you can actually do good things. Pfizer and BioNTech says its COVID-19 vaccine is 100% effective and well tolerated in adolescents. We've got even more good news. Clinical trial results of the Pfizer BioNTech COVID vaccine showed its efficacy rate is 100% and is tolerated between use of 12 to 15. The company said on Wednesday the Pfizer BioNTech planned to submit the data to the US FDA as soon as possible for expanded emergency use authorization of the two-dose vaccine. In a phase 3 trial of 2,260 participants from ages 12 to 15 in the US, the vaccine elicited strong antibody response 1 month after the second dose, exceeding those demonstrated in people 16 to 25 in previous trials. The vaccine is currently authorized in the US for emergency use in people 16 and older. Researchers observed 18 COVID cases among the 1,129 participants who were given a placebo, and none among the 1,131 volunteers who got the vaccine. The data has yet to be peer-reviewed. The Pfizer BioNTech added that the side effects seen in young teens were similar to those seen among 16 to 25-year-olds. Common side effects include pain at the injection site, fatigue, and fever. The participants will be monitored for protection and safety for 2 years after their second dose. Those comparisons to older populations are important because researchers are building off the knowledge they gained in the adult trials. So, in other words, the TLDR of this article is it seems like the more data and the more trials we do, it's positive. It's positive. So, crossing my fingers, folks, that if we continue seeing good results, that hopefully as 2021 comes to an end, we will have a better grip on this virus. As 2021 comes to an end, we'll have a better grip. I'm hoping. I'm hoping, because I'm sure that by May, all adults will be eligible for vaccines. And seeing as these vaccines are quite effective, it seems like we'll be on our way. We will have a rager. I can finally go back to brunch, unironically. Signs for the win, true. Okay, I'm back. So, Lasu, just to catch you up really quickly, on the issue of minimum wage, New Zealand recently increased their minimum wage to $20 an hour, okay, and announced new expansive programs to help with healthcare, housing, education, by taxing the rich. That's how they're going to plan to pay for it, and that's how they reorganize, how they identify their priorities as the people. We should probably do the same. Imagine if we reorganize our priorities to actually serve the people. The problem with all this stuff is that Pfizer's fucking total scum. I mean, well, yeah, but in this case, and we're operating within market frameworks, true. Obviously not going to say it doesn't work 100%. Well, no, they didn't. They weren't the original numbers like 90-something%. Yeah, but they're not incentivized to tell the truth ever. Well, their studies are about to be peer-reviewed, and so far, it seems like credible... it seems to me like there's credible people saying, oh, this actually is pretty effective. Wait, enhance. Is that a photo of Epstein and Maxwell? Wait, where? Oh? On the top left? Study peer-reviewed off the data given to them by Pfizer. Is that them up there on the top left? Well, I mean, Moderna, which is operating on the similar Moderna is operating on the same, like, similar technology, and they've shown some good results too. They've all been fined Mundo bucks for taking people over and rigging prices. Yeah, but that's another thing though, right? Like, I mean, we should have done that all along, but our politicians are paid by lobbyists to keep that from happening. True. All I'm saying is that when they say it's 100% effective, it is sus. Well, okay, so just to be very clear, this study that they did of X amount of participants showed a 100% efficacy. So just to be clear, this study showed in a phase 3 study showed a efficacy of 100%. Study trials are pretty locked tight, like double blind. Yeah. True wing. So either way, I think that not peer reviewed. 60 to 95% is better than 0. True. Study trials are pretty locked tight, not peer reviewed, so keep a little bit of skepticism. Yeah, like, so there's a difference between having like skepticism and because I don't want to misinterpret, right? I want to make sure that it's very clear. The results are positive. The results are positive, and if we continue down this plan, I'm hoping that by the end of this year, or as this year starts to end, we'll be in a much better position. That is my estimation. Yeah, don't give the chatters the wrong impression. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, just to be very clear, I just don't like Pfizer. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people don't like Big Pharma either. This isn't a praise for Big Pharma. I'm just saying that we're having good results, and that if we continue down this positive trend, hopefully, as Darknet said, we'll be able to head to brunch. We'll all be good and head to brunch by the end of this year, or as we get into 2022. Keep brunch gone. True. Yes, it's a brunch is a meme. Brunch is a meme. I'm taking orders from brunch. We got omelets, got flapjacks, and got waffles. I'll take waffles. Speaking of brunch, did you see the new playpens and the ice facilities? What? Playpens? Oh, good lord. Is there pictures? Can you send that? Florida Governor DeSantis, of course, rejects vaccine passports as completely unacceptable. As more Americans get vaccinated, the desire to get back into the world and enjoy activities again is strong. The idea of so-called vaccine passports is increasingly discussed as a way for those who are vaccinated or negative for COVID to prove that they are virus-free to return to something approaching normalcy. But there is skepticism in some circles, particularly on the right, about the use of such tools, even though they largely don't exist yet. I mean, like, I think that would be a I don't think that this would be necessarily a bad idea. For travel. Right. Right, the cognitive dissonance, right? Voter ID is good, however, COVID ID, bad. Right, it's not children's in cages anymore. They're just having mandatory fun time adventures. That's right. That's right. Jesus. You could see why they fought the transparency so hard. You could see why they fought the transparency so hard, because, well, the reality is the conditions there are not good. The Biden administration, for the first time on Tuesday, allowed a limited pool of journalists inside its main detention facility for migrant children at the U.S.-Mexico border. The visit revealed a severely crowded tent structure with more than 4,000 migrants, including children, families packed into pods, and the youngest kept in a large playpen with mats on the floor for sleeping. Joe Biden has been under pressure to bring more transparency to the process of handling the current increase in undocumented migrants crossing into the U.S. compared with previous months. The U.S. Customs Border Protection allowed 2 journalists from the Associated Press and a crew from TV network CBS to tour the facility in Donna, Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley, at the eastern end of the U.S.-Mexico divide. The facility has a capacity of 250, but more than 4,100 people were being housed on the property Tuesday. Jesus. More were unaccompanied children processed in tents before being taken into shelters run by the Department of Health and Human Services and then placed with a family member, relative, or sponsor. I mean, does this look good? Does this look humane to you? Does this look right? Does this look right to you? When you look at these pictures, do you think, oh man, this is such a great place. They're being treated so well. Oh, hey, at least they're not in cages, though. No, they're not in cages. They're in giant playpens that happen to have walls around them. It's not a cage per se. It's just it's just a place where they're being held in tight quarters. Except it's plastic and not like metal cages. How long are families held there? Some families, we don't know. The children are just there until they can figure out who the family or who the sponsor is. My gut feeling is that it wasn't plastic before Joe let the people in. Maybe. Why not give them papers, tell them how to show up for court hearings, and give them credit cards for food and hotel? Yeah, I mean, like, you'd spend less. True. I think that it's just very, like, I think that, yes, these are just kids. But the conditions for the families and the adults are not exactly much better. We need to have the ability to do all of these asylum processes, and we need to have the infrastructure to be able to humanely have immigration, right? The proper way of doing immigration. This is not okay. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the immigration system. There needs to be a safe way for undocumented people to come to claim. There needs to be a safe way for undocumented people to come to claim them without worrying about being deported. Yeah, that's a great. I think that's a great idea. You know, because then you're just encouraging them to just send children, right? And it's like, why not have them accompanied by their parents so that we can do the asylum process all together, right? We should have a system where we can effectively do this and not have these conditions. Simple. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. This is not okay. The children were being housed in 8 pods of about 3,200 square feet in size. Many of the pods had more than 500 children in them. The journalists watched children being processed. They went into a small room for lice inspection and a health check. Their hair was hosed down, towels were tossed in a black bin marked lice. The minors, many of who have made long journeys to get to the border, including stretches on foot, were also checked for scabies, fever, and other ailments. No COVID tests were administered unless a child showed symptoms. Nurse practitioners also gave psychological tests, asking children if they had suicidal thoughts. All shoelaces were removed to avoid to harm anybody. I mean, like, look at this. The children were then led down to a green turf hall to a large intake room. Those 14 and older fingerprinted and have their photo taken. Younger children did not. So safe. So much better. I'm so glad. Yeah, this is horrifying to watch. Speaking of which, take their fingerprints so they're already in the criminal database. I don't know if it's for a criminal database or is that interchangeable in terms of like immigration / criminal. I don't know, but I guess it's possible. Speaking of immigration, this Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be on Universal Discourse's channel doing a panel on immigration. Of course, I will be on the side of pro-immigration. So feel free to check that out Friday night. I may stream it on YouTube. But go check out Universal Discourse. They're a fantastic indigenous streamer. And just an overall like awesome person. If you've ever spoken to Universal Discourse, just phenomenal, fantastic human being. So I will be on their panel Friday night about 8 p.m. Yikes, panels. Yeah, no, this ain't like the rest of the panels, all right? The rest of the Twitch World panels. Universal Discourse does not run panels like the rest of them. Who's taking the opposing sides? I only know I think that Counterpoints is going to be on it. I know a person named Tiberius. Myself. I'm not sure if this is confirmed, but I think Demon Mama is going to join us. I'm not sure if that's confirmed. Pizzagates. Oh yeah. Don't worry, we'll get to that. If she does what I've seen her do, these debates should be fun and might be on an academic level, not the typical Twitch debate. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, Wing. The way she runs stuff is completely different. It's completely different. And she will be taking part of it too. It is not a typical Twitch debate. I can guarantee that. which is why I like going on her channel. Okay, so I think we have that, as far as I know, Tiberius counterpoints Socrates, myself, and crowdsourced politics so far. Yeah, this Friday evening. I just heard you in the background. What day are you doing the panel? Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you have plenty of notes on U.S. operations in Central and South America. True. Yeah, Friday night. Pizzagates. The real Pizzagate, folks. Don't worry, we'll be talking about that in a second. So this is incredibly horrifying to watch. This is sad. And I'm sure like this, there's many other pictures. As the Biden administration is being forced to be more transparent, I'm sure we'll get more horrifying stories. Oh, there's a video? Is that video there? Did I miss it? I saw it on NBC. NBC News. Press briefing. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't see it. NBC Immigration. Oh, wait. I think this might be it. Yeah, due to DMCA, I actually can't show the sound or anything like that. But to make it as transformative as possible, we're just going to narrate what's happening. They're showing like images and videos of the horrifying conditions and cramped areas of the migrant facilities. You can see just how crowded, ill-equipped this this place is.
He rode along with the Texas Department of Public.
Let's see if we get more videos of the actual. No, so this was the videos of the actual place. Yeah, DMCA. I mean, this looks like a prison. It straight up looks like a prison. So TLDR, Ron DeSantis is against having some type of COVID documentation, which I think is probably a good idea. It would be like how you have proof of vaccination when you go to school. It'd be just like that. It would be just like that. I don't see the problem. I don't see the problem. That's like saying you have a problem with children showing proof of vaccination before going to school, right? Fucking DMCA, true. Yeah, this is horrifying. Folks, it seems like economists have finally caught up to what scientists have been saying for decades. Immediate and drastic, the climate crisis is seriously spooking economists. Worsening inequality, trillions of dollars in economic damage, and depressed economic growth. Those are the outcomes that economists fear we will face unless the world aggressively confronts the climate crisis. Hey, folks, here's a news flash for you. It's already happening. Nearly 3/4 of economists agree that immediate and drastic action is warranted to curb emissions, according to a survey released Tuesday from the Institute of Policy Integrity at the NYU School of Law. Hey, guys, wow, 2021, and the majority, 74% of economists agree on what climate scientists, actual scientists, have been talking about for decades. Wow. Amazing. This is incredibly infuriating. The inside doesn't look much different than the foster facility that I grew up in. Yeah, that's because child foster care is underfunded. It doesn't have the resources it needs. A lot of foster care facilities are just not adequately equipped, to say the least. That's up sharply from 50% in 2015. Wow. Since that time, the U.S. has been hit by an onslaught of extreme and deadly weather events, including Hurricane Maria, massive wildfires in California, and this year's deep freeze in Texas. With floods, wildfires, and hurricanes occurring more frequently, the financial toll from the climate crisis is expected to rise dramatically. Oh, so now it's when it's important. Oh. Now it's important. Except, if we would have started taking care of this beforehand, maybe we would be in a better position. This is the problem with allowing the private sector to solve the climate crisis. That's why I wanted to bring up this this article. It's not a problem until it's my problem, and it's slowly becoming my problem. So I guess we'll say we need to take action on this. But it's 2021. It's already starting to look like it's too late. And that was the whole argument against letting the private sector deal with this. By the time it comes to terms with the severity of the problem, it will be too late. It will be too late. How do they even pay $30 trillion per year? When the problem harms people, they're like, yeah, we don't think there's a problem. Yeah, it's an individual problem. You'll figure it out. But when the problem harms profits, ho ho, now we got to do something about this. I don't care. Unless I actually see some legislation, I don't care. So yeah, the entire, like, the entire point of this article is to point out the absurdity and the frustration. Economic damage from climate change is projected to reach 1.7 trillion by 2025 and surge roughly to 30 trillion annually by 2075 under most scenarios, according to consensus forecasts included in the survey. Yeah, easily. And I imagine, like, this is worldwide, with all the destruction, with all the damage, destruction, also the possibility of us not being able to grow food, water shortages, potential conflicts might cause significant costs. But yeah, I could totally see that being a thing. Alright folks, really quickly, before I go. Matt Gaetz, folks, Pizzagate, the real Pizzagate, and the photo is just beautiful on irony. Uncancelled behind his CPAC podium. Representative Matt Gaetz, Florida Republican, and a close ally of President Trump, is being investigated by the Justice Department over whether he had sexual relationship with a 17-year-old and paid for her to travel with him, according to 3 people briefed on the matter. Oh no. Yikes, my dude. Yikes. Investigators are examining whether Mr. Gaetz violated federal sex trafficking laws. The people said a variety of the federal statutes make it illegal to induce someone over 18 to travel over state lines to engage in sex in exchange for money or something of value. Ooh, yikes is all I can say. It's not clear how Mr. Gaetz met the girl believed to be 17 at the time of encounters about 2 years ago that the investigators are scrutinizing, according to 2 people. And apparently this started previously during the Trump administration and was actually opened by William Barr. No charges have been brought against Mr. Gaetz, and the extent of his criminal exposure is unclear. I have a suspicion that someone is trying to recategorize my generosity to ex-girlfriends as something more untoward. Well, we'll see, my friend. It is disgusting. Well, I don't know about... I think he's... If this is true, allegedly, this dude's like a pedo, if this is true. Absolutely gross. Absolutely gross. I heard they charged Ghislaine today? Wow. It's not even paying people. It's a child. Speaking of disgusting, I heard they... Yeah. Unbelievably gross. I don't know if I have time to read this, but I'll try to, dang. I think this warrants, to be done tomorrow. But, I got another friendly email from the leader, not the leader, the founder of Gab. Got another friendly email that I want to share with you guys. So make sure you check out the stream tomorrow. I think we're gonna open with that one. But yes, this is just absolutely infuriating, and it's exactly why we shouldn't allow the free market to take care of climate change, because it's just inept. It's inequipped, incapable of taking care of this serious problem in time. By the time free market comes around, dealing with climate change, it's already decades too late. No further questions, Your Honor. I rest my case. Alright folks, it is 11:27. I do have to get going. Thank you guys so much for joining. I really appreciate all of you guys hanging out here. Excuse me. Where are you? Okay, there you guys are. I really do appreciate all of you guys hanging out. If you guys enjoy the channel, please make sure you hit that follow button. Head on over to our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out. And of course, the call to action, as always, is please spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be for news and politics in the AM. We are here Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, doing news and politics. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next stream. See ya! Don't forget, guys, Friday night, Universal Discourse. Tomorrow, a email from our friendly Gab guy. Give Carlos your money. Also true. True. I'm such a bad shill. Later. They just got the... Alright, folks. Let's see. Idan Simpson looks to be online. Alright, let's head on over to Idan Simpson's channel. Oh, you know what? Carpetbacks is on. Carpetbacks. Let's go. Alright, folks. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Stay with me, folks. We're heading over. Show massive love to Carpetbacks. Thank you, guys. And see you tomorrow.